Captain Eva Rostova stood on the bridge of the stellar horizon, her gaze steady as she surveyed the vast expanse of ocean stretching before her. The hum of machinery and the quiet chatter of her crew were a familiar symphony, but today a weightier decision pressed on her mind. The stellar horizon was no ordinary vessel. It was a colossal container ship, stacked high with thousands of containers, each one packed with electronics, textiles, and goods, destined for the bustling cities of the American East Coast. The responsibility of delivering this cargo safely and on time rested squarely on her shoulders. Just hours earlier, her ship had slipped away from the neon-lit skyline of Shanghai, leaving behind the relentless energy of one of the world's busiest ports. The echoes of commerce and the urgency of global trade still lingered in her thoughts as the ship plowed into open water. Now, as she studied the glowing digital charts on the bridge, two distinct routes appeared before her, each with its own history, risks, and rewards. The first was the long, perilous sweep around Cape Horn at the southern tip of South America, a route that had tested the mettle of sailors for centuries. The second was the direct, engineered shortcut of the Panama Canal, a marvel of human ingenuity that sliced through the continent, offering a much faster and safer passage between the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. The southern route, once legendary among mariners, meant braving the wildest seas on Earth. Towering waves, unpredictable storms, and icy winds made it a true test of courage and seamanship. For centuries it was the only way, and countless ships were lost to its fury. But in the modern era, it had become a relic, a dangerous detour that few dared to attempt. The Panama Canal, by contrast, offered a shorter, safer, and more predictable journey. Its locks and channels were designed for ships like the stellar horizon, and its calm waters were a welcome relief from the chaos of the open ocean. For today's shipping industry, with its tight schedules and razor-thin margins, the canal was perfectly suited to the demands of global commerce. For Captain Rostova, the decision was clear. The realities of modern shipping, schedules, insurance requirements, and fuel budgets left little room for nostalgia or risk. Every calculation, every regulation, and every expectation pointed to Panama as the only sensible choice. The old Cape Horn passage, with all its drama and danger, was no longer a practical option for commercial vessels. Its legacy lived on in stories and legends. But the world had moved on, and so had the shipping lanes. With a steady hand, Captain Rostova set her course for Panama, leaving the ghosts of Cape Horn to their lonely watch at the edge of the world. The stellar horizon surged forward, guided by technology and the promise of safe passage. Today, almost no cargo ship dares the southern route. Progress, innovation, and the relentless march of global trade have charted a new path, one that favors efficiency and safety over adventure and peril. The world's oceans are still vast and wild, but for ships like the stellar horizon, the future is clear and the way forward is through Panama. The Panama Canal is the reason Cape Horn has faded from commercial memory. Once, ships braved the treacherous waters at the southern tip of South America, risking storms and shipwrecks to connect the world's oceans. But today, the canal stands as a testament to human ingenuity, offering a safer, faster alternative. This 51-mile waterway slices through the narrowest part of Panama, connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. It saves ships not just thousands of miles, but also weeks of perilous travel at sea. Instead of rounding the wild and unpredictable Cape Horn, vessels now glide through a carefully engineered shortcut that has revolutionized global shipping. Instead of a grueling detour, vessels are lifted and lowered through massive locks, crossing Gatun Lake and the Culebra Cut with precision. The canal system of locks is a marvel, raising ships up to 85 feet above sea level and then gently lowering them back down, all while moving millions of tons of cargo. The canal's construction was a triumph over disease, engineering failure, and financial disaster. Finally completed by the US in 1914, thousands of workers from around the world toiled in harsh conditions, battling malaria and yellow fever, to carve this passage through dense jungle and solid rock. Today, it's a vital artery for global trade, expanded to handle even the largest Neo-Panamax ships. The canal's modernization has ensured it remains relevant, accommodating the ever-growing demands of international commerce and the massive vessels that now dominate the seas. The canal's reliability and efficiency make the wild southern seas obsolete for commercial shipping, Where once captains faced towering waves and icy winds, they now navigate calm waters, guided by expert pilots and state-of-the-art technology. For almost all cargo, the Panama Canal is the default, safe, predictable, and indispensable. Its smooth operation keeps the world's supply chains moving, linking continents and economies with remarkable precision. The age of Cape Horn as a trade route is over. The Panama Canal has forever changed the map of maritime commerce, leaving the once feared Southern Passage to history and legend. Cape Horn conjures images of shattered ships and desperate sailors. At the tip of South America, it's where the Atlantic and Pacific collide in chaos. Before the canal, it was the only link between oceans, a graveyard for over 800 ships and 10,000 sailors. The Drake Passage funnels fierce winds and currents, creating monstrous waves and unpredictable seas. Sailors faced hurricane-force winds, freezing spray, and weeks of terror, stories that became legend. Even today, with steel hulls and modern tech, Cape Horn remains one of the world's most hazardous waters. Rogue waves, violent storms, and treacherous currents still threaten any ship that dares the passage. The forces that made Cape Horn infamous haven't changed. That's why commercial shipping avoids it at all costs. Cape Horn sits within the roaring 40s and furious 50s, latitudes infamous for relentless westerly winds. With no land to slow them, these winds whip up waves as high as 20 meters, battering even the largest ships. The Southern Ocean's unlimited fetch lets storms build unchecked, creating a perfect storm of wind, waves, and cold. Ships face freezing temperatures, ice accretion, and the world's strongest ocean current, the Antarctic Circumpolar Current. This current, combined with unpredictable eddies and whirlpools, makes navigation treacherous. The region's hazards, wind, waves, cold, and currents, combine to create the most dangerous waters on Earth. For most mariners, the risk is simply not worth it. The Panama Canal's calm predictability is a world away from this chaos. The Panama Canal's opening in 1914 didn't just shorten voyages, it redrew the world's trade map. Before, ships faced the long, perilous journey around Cape Horn or the Strait of Magellan. The canal's shortcut slashed travel times, revolutionizing trade between the Americas and beyond. A New York to San Francisco trip shrank from 13,000 miles to just over 5,000, transforming domestic and international commerce. Ports rose and fell in importance overnight, and the US gained a strategic edge by moving fleets between oceans. The canal unified economies, enabled faster delivery of goods, and shifted global maritime power. Its impact was immediate and profound. Cape Horn's era as a trade artery ended almost instantly. The world became smaller, more connected, and more efficient. In shipping, every day at sea means massive costs: fuel, crew, and insurance. The Cape Horn route adds 8,000 nautical miles and weeks of delay compared to the Panama Canal. Modern supply chains demand speed. Delays mean lost profits and outdated products. The southern route's unpredictability and danger drive insurance premiums sky high. The Panama Canal, though expensive, offers reliability and efficiency that outweigh its tolls. Shipping companies crunch the numbers, and the canal always wins: less risk, less fuel, more profit. The Cape Horn route is a financial black hole. No company chooses it unless forced. In global trade, predictability is king. That's why the canal dominates. Shipping routes are shaped by politics as much as geography. The remote Cape Horn route is vulnerable and inefficient, especially in a world focused on secure, streamlined supply chains. Recent US-China trade tensions and proposed tariffs on Chinese-built ships have forced companies to rethink routes and strategies. Some cargo may be rerouted through Canada or Mexico, but no one is considering a return to Cape Horn. Geopolitical flashpoints like the South China Sea draw naval focus, while the Drake Passage is left unpatrolled and strategically irrelevant. In today's volatile world, security and predictability matter most. The southern route adds uncertainty, something shippers can't afford. Cape Horn is simply off the map for modern commerce. Modern cargo ships are designed for the world's choke points, especially the Panama Canal. Panamax and Neo-Panamax standards dictate ship size, maximizing efficiency and capacity for canal transit. These ships aren't built for Cape Horn's violence. Their high stacks and flat bottoms are no match for the Southern Ocean's fury. Engines are optimized for steady, economical speeds, not for battling hurricane-force winds and currents. A Cape Horn passage would strain engines, burn fuel, and risk breakdowns far from help. The global fleet, ports, and logistics all revolve around the canal. Building ships for Cape Horn would be wasteful and impractical. The industry has evolved for efficiency, not adventure. Today, Cape Horn is a legend, not a highway. Once the most dreaded passage for sailors, it now stands as a remote outpost at the edge of the world, its name echoing with tales of adventure and peril. The Cape's fierce winds and unpredictable currents, which once claimed countless ships, have become part of its mystique, drawing only the most daring to its waters. Commercial shipping has abandoned it, too dangerous, too slow, too costly. Modern vessels with their valuable cargo and tight schedules avoid these treacherous waters whenever possible. The risks far outweigh the rewards, and the world's shipping lanes have shifted elsewhere, leaving Cape Horn's seas eerily empty. The route's only regular visitors are adventure sailors and round-the-world racers who see it as the ultimate test. For these modern explorers, rounding the Horn is a badge of honor, a challenge that connects them to the great mariners of the past. For them, Cape Horn is a rite of passage, not a logistical problem. The thrill of facing nature's raw power, the satisfaction of overcoming the odds, these are the rewards that draw them here, year after year. Rarely, giant ships too big for the Panama Canal must brave the southern route. But these voyages are exceptional and meticulously planned. Every crossing is a calculated risk, with crews preparing for the worst that the Southern Ocean can deliver. The story of Cape Horn's decline is one of progress, engineering triumph over nature's fury. Advances in ship design, navigation, and the construction of new routes have rendered the old passage nearly obsolete. The Panama Canal stands as a monument to this achievement, making global trade safer and faster. Its locks and channels have opened new possibilities, forever changing the map of maritime commerce. Cape Horn remains a symbol of maritime legend, but its days as a trade route are over. Its cliffs and storms now serve as a reminder of the courage and ingenuity that once defined the age of sail. The world has moved on, leaving the Cape to its storms and stories. Yet for those who seek adventure or wish to honor the past, Cape Horn endures, a wild, windswept monument to the spirit of exploration.